All right, class, welcome back. Jeff Marshall here. We are continuing our study of the pentatonic scale. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what I call the Mixolydian pentatonic scale. And this is a pentatonic scale that is a little bit adapted to the dominant seventh chord. Okay, so the dominant seventh chord at its core is a major chord. It is spelled out as a 1-3-5 flat 7. Now your first inclining might be to play a major pentatonic over it because it is indeed a major chord. However, and that can sound good, but however, you're kind of omitting that flat 7 that is found in the dominant chord, and that can be a really important tone. So the easy solution for that is to just restructure your pentatonic scale to include that flat 7. So what I like to do is think of my pentatonic scale. Normally a major pentatonic would be a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, right? So in the key of D, let's say for example, it would be D, E, and then the third, 5, and major 6. That's our major pentatonic. Now don't get me wrong, that will work and it will sound great over a dominant chord, but you're kind of missing out on that flat 7. That is a really important tone for the dominant sound. So simply what we do is we just replace the major 6 with the flatted 7. So now our formula would be something like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, flat 7. And of course we can continue that on. 1, 2, 3, 5, flat 7. All right, so we're going to play that over a D9 chord or a D7 chord. Now, that might look familiar, right? Because we just talked about the John Coltrane minor 6 pentatonic, and when we play that from A, it's actually the A minor 6 pentatonic. So double bonus, it's actually the same fingering. And that makes sense because both A Dorian and D Mixolydian are part of G major. So you're likely going to use some of the same notes. All right, so that's really cool. We don't have to relearn the guitar for this because we've already talked about the minor 6 pentatonic. However, I think you should try to see it as its own scale. You should try to see it from its own root. You know, even though it's physically the same, harmonically you're achieving something different. So I think that you should just try to think of it as a D Mixolydian pentatonic instead of another way to use the A minor 6 pentatonic. Because, you know, you might not ever play an A minor chord. That might not come into your consciousness. So if you can just see it from the root of the D, think of it as a D Mixolydian. I think that's a little bit beneficial for you in the long run. So I'm going to go ahead and just jam a little bit over a D Mixolydian backing track and try to implore some of these notes of this Mixolydian pentatonic. All right, sounds pretty hip to me. Of course, I'm essentially kind of playing very similar to what I was playing over the A minor 6. It's the same fingering, but now my mind is thinking more D, and I'm going to resolve it more to the D note to kind of bring it home to that D Mixolydian sound. Now, of course, we could still play our D major pentatonic, but if you've been playing for a little while, you kind of know that when you're playing over dominant chords, you can also play minor pentatonics over it, right? You can get away with that. It's kind of got a nice bluesy sound. So that means we can actually combine this with the minor pentatonic, we can combine it with the major pentatonic, and also the D Mixolydian pentatonic. So I'm just going to play a little bit over the track just for a few seconds, just to kind of demonstrate some of the different sounds, and hopefully you can hear the difference between these different pentatonic scales. That's just a major pentatonic. Here's a Mixolydian. There's a little bit of minor. All right, that's super hip. I have lots of options here, and each one of those options has a little bit different coloration. And this is why I like this approach as opposed to just playing up or down the Mixolydian mode. I mean, that sounds good, don't get me wrong, but by omitting some of the notes, by playing the pentatonic scale, or a pentatonic version of the scale, it kind of makes those notes just a little bit more important when you do play them. So that's just my own personal thought on that. All right, so let's head over to our practice scene and let's see if we can implement some strategies for getting the Mixolydian pentatonic on the fretboard. I'll see you there.